Tom Thwaites.
Oh man, that is beautiful.
Is the man who makes things from scratch.
Yeah, look at that. That is metal.
He's an inventor who takes raw materials from the ground.
Check it out.
And turns them into his version of the mass-produced objects we can't live without.
It's working!
His creations are so unique, they are on show in museums across the world.
I want to get to grips with the extraordinary technology that surrounds us, but we just take for granted.
In this series, Tom is facing a new challenge.
Ah, it's hot! Yes, yes!
Can he make 4 everyday items using only raw materials from the UK?
Look at that!
And his own handiwork.
I can do it.
Revealing the story
Whoa.
of our industrial heritage.
Ding.
Hidden in the simplest of objects. This week, Tom Thwaites is going to build a pair of trainers from scratch.
I mean, look at this. It's a shoe, right? We've all got them. People have been wearing these things for 40,000 years, but the trainer, it's kind of the pinnacle of the shoe. Not only does it have to work technically, this is a fashion item.
You're not really going to cut that open, are you?
Yeah, although on the surface it looks quite simple. I know there's going to be materials which I probably won't even be able to identify. I'm afraid if I'm going to find out what's inside it, the shoe has to die.
Footwear is a globalised industry with 12 billion pairs mass-produced every year. And it's worth £120 billion. The modern materials in our shoes are sourced from across the planet. So Tom has his work cut out. He's going to make his from scratch with only British ingredients.
So there's over 80 separate parts from all over the world in just one pair of trainers. And each part, each material has to do a very different job to deal with the kind of stresses and strains of walking around town all day. Here, to stiffen the heels, we've got this thermoplastic, but then also we've got a different type of thermoplastic, which is called the toe puffer, and that's to, produce that kind of nice rounded toe. We've got several different types of polyurethane foam. For each shoe, there are 16 of these little eyelets. They're really quite amazing because they've got 4 metals just in one tiny piece. There's not just one type of leather here. This is aniline leather, for example, and this has been dyed in such a way as to retain the natural patination of the skin of the animal. A lot of the shoe is made up of woven textile. There's cotton in there, but there's also synthetic fibres which are derived from crude oil.
To make his trainers from scratch, Tom is going to focus on the 3 most essential components. For the soles, he needs to make rubber, which can grip the ground whilst cushioning his feet from impact. For the inner lining and the sock of the shoe, he'll need canvas that is lightweight, breathable and flexible enough to move in. Finally, for the uppers and his personal branding, he'll need leather, which must be both strong and supple. With the challenge laid at his feet, Tom is travelling to Scotland in search of leather. The first shoes worn by our prehistoric ancestors were often made from wild deerskin. Tom is following in their footsteps. Today, with no natural predators, wild deer numbers have shot up. To protect the highland habitats, the government insists almost 100,000 deer are culled every year. It's culling season, and under professional guidance, Tom is aiming to get the leather his trainers require.
Have you ever shot anything before, Tom? Why are we doing this?
Well, I'm trying to get the skin for my trainers. And I guess I wanted to kind of hunt it myself. Oh my god, it's in my sides. Sorry, Bambi. I've missed.
Tom might be a master of making things, but a marksman he is not. Whilst he's seen his leather in the flesh, he needs another plan.
What happened?
I might be a crap shot, but there are people who aren't.
Sometimes Tom needs a little help. Back in his mum's house in London, he receives a delivery from a leather dealer. Deerskin is the softest leather there is, and Tom's inspecting the hide before he turns it into leather.
Is that the bullet hole? That's sad. But also necessary if I want leather for my trainers.
Today, most leather is made from cattle, and the leather industry of China produces over 6 billion square feet of leather every year. In mass production, industrial chemicals are used to clean, preserve, and colour the animal's skin. But Tom is going to use the traditional leather making technique that relies on ingredients closer to home.
Mum,
What, dear?
could you chuck me down some knives, please? I'll
What are
wash them up afterwards.
What are you doing?
It's just a bit of deer, Mum.
Oh,
Right.
I don't want any gobbets of flesh on my garden or my lawn, nothing.
Okay. There's still quite a lot of meat.
Just like the industrial process, Tom must first remove all the flesh and hair.
Oh, Thomas, you've made a complete filthy muck, haven't you?
I've de-haired the deer.
Next, Tom needs to remove any leftover fats in a process called baiting. And for this, he needs a digestive enzyme called trypsin that can be found in a dog's stomach.
If I were a dog, where would I poo?
And as always, he goes straight to the source of the raw materials.
Excuse me? I don't suppose you've got any dog poo? Not yet. Okay, all right. This is what we've been looking for.
In Victorian Britain, young boys called pure finders would wander the streets, just like Tom, in search of the finest dog dirt.
Oh, God, that is horrid.
They earned their living collecting this animal waste and emptying communal pots of human urine, all for use in East London's enormous tanning industry.
That is nasty. Good. That is quite disgusting. I've come to finish.
What is that?
It's actually dog poo from the park.
Out, get out, get out. No, 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 no.
But can I get I just need to get the skin. Right.
For most trainer lovers, dog poo is something to be avoided. But for Tom, it's the vital ingredient in the baiting process.
A dog is a carnivore, so it has enzymes in its stomach which digest flesh and skin. And these enzymes are excreted into its poo. And so by adding the poo, those enzymes will do exactly the same thing and start digesting bits of the skin which I don't want, and then I'll just be left with the leather. Okay, this is now like a biological weapon.
There were still pits of dog poo in Devon until the mid-20th century, when synthetic enzymes replaced the need for dog dirt. Luckily, it only takes 2 hours soaking in hot dog poo before the baiting stage is complete. So Tom prepares for the final phase, tanning.
The key ingredient in tanning leather is this stuff called alum, salt of aluminium. It just looks like bread, but the Romans used it to tan leather, and before that the ancient Greeks.
The alum begins a chemical process that fixes protein fibres in the skin to keep it flexible when it dries out. Tom also adds flour. The starch makes the leather thicker. And then egg yolks. The cholesterol makes it supple.
So now, just like as though I was making some weird dog poo infused cake, I'm just gonna knead it.
It's a style of cooking that even Heston Blumenthal would find too experimental.
So that is a tanned hide. Oh, gross.
Now the leather is tanned and ready for his trainers, Tom is ready to make the canvas. He's in search of a natural fibre that grows like a weed and was once the mainstay of the British Empire. With directions from the farmer, he's looking for a crop that can only be grown under licence by the Home Office.
Into a field of mist, looking for...
We've been going for ages, Tom. I'm knackered.
Look, Ben, stop whining, okay? There's 18 acres of cannabis growing somewhere near Cambridge, and it's definitely round here. It's just must be sort of hidden or something to stop the hippies getting it.
Most modern canvas is made from cotton, but originally it was all made from hemp or cannabis sativa, which is where the word canvas comes from. And as ever, Tom is going back to first principles.
Hey, this looks like a massive field of hemp.
Wow.
Whoa. 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 Like being in the Nam, man. Oh, man. We haven't come here to get stoned. This is what we're looking for.
Hemp was banned in Britain in 1971, but for the past 20 years, it's been legal to grow industrial hemp engineered to have no psychoactive qualities.
This is the fibre which was made into canvas sails, canvas ropes, basically powered the British Empire.
In big industry, giant machines spin fibres from the field into long threads, which are woven into pristine canvas. But Tom is once again turning to ancient traditions. This is the backstrap loom, a 7,000-year-old technique still in use across the developing world. There, weavers attach themselves to a tree and use their body weight to create tension. Tom's flat doesn't have anything strong enough to take his weight, so he's using a lamppost.
Would you mind just adjusting that? It just needs to be parallel. Brilliant. Cheers, man. I had to pass the shuttle sort of in between all the threads.
Tom's adjusting the tension in the warp with his body weight to allow the weft to pass in between and create a strong fabric mesh.
This is what they do back in Nigeria.
Oh, right.
They do it like doing a native dress.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going good, but it's so slow. And my back hurts. It's going to take flipping ages.
Making leather and canvas might have been tough, but trying to get rubber from Cornwall could be a stretch.
I mean, there's a tiny dribble.
And when his trainers are complete, will anyone ever wear them?
Whatever it is. Try one here. No. Oh, go on, go on.
In his quest to make a pair of trainers from scratch, there's no limit to how far Tom Thwaites is prepared to go. Now he's heading to Cornwall in search of rubber for the soles of his shoes.
We're on the Midnight Express to Penzance. We're going to go to the Eden project, that crazy greenhouse, and because there they have like rubber trees growing.
Today, factories like these in Germany produce over 15 million tonnes of synthetic rubber every year. But remarkably, 40% of the world's rubber production still begins life in plantations like these in Thailand. Here, thousands of trees are tapped every day to produce natural liquid latex. But Tom knows a place closer to home and is taking the sleeper train to get the liquid latex his trainers require.
Wake me up when we're in Cornwall.
The Eden project has a tropical biome, the perfect place to grow the rubber trees Tom's looking for.
Okay, I'm looking for these things. To get the rubber out of the tree, I just need to make like a small incision, and then the latex sap will just come out. Look, you can see it already. It's just like a cut, isn't it? That's cool. That's latex. I mean, the ants are going a bit mental.
In nature, the latex sap's function is to protect the tree by healing cuts in the bark, just like a human scab.
Look, it's working. I mean, there's a tiny dribble. Nice. Now it's going. My first drips of natural rubber.
Tom needs all the sap he can get to make a good pair of soles, so more rubber means tapping all 10 of these Cornish rubber trees. Natural rubber shoes were first made by the ancestors of the Aztecs, who covered their feet in latex over 3,000 years ago.
Look, latex.
Tom is updating their technique. He adds vinegar to help solidify the latex, then moulds it into shape with some unlikely modern technology. A waffle iron.
Right, this is the moment of truth. This isn't as mad as it might seem, because waffle irons have a very important pedigree when it comes to running shoes, because the first running shoes which had rubber soles, well, the soles were actually made on a waffle iron.
Tom is following in the footsteps of Bill Bowerman, the co-founder of Nike, who invented their first pair of running shoes. Like Tom, Bill ruined a perfectly decent waffle iron in pursuit of the perfect pattern for his rubber soles.
All right. Whoa! Look at that! Any athlete would be pleased to have that on his feet. I think it's just big enough for my foot.
The components are complete, but on his journey to build trainers, Tom has also made onion dyes,
Ow!
nylon for the laces, and a mould of his own foot. And now he's finally ready to put it all together.
I've got my bespoke mould of my foot, and now I'm using that to make the pattern for my trainers. Ugh.
With a combination of dog poo, onion dyes, and Cornish rubber, Tom's shoes are 100% organic.
If these trainers don't look dramatic, they're going to definitely smell dramatic. Right, here goes. So now, the deerskin. I'm going to put the bullet hole straight on the toe. Okay. Cool. Now for the all-important insignia, double T. Hopefully most of the dog poo has been washed off. There you go.
After 4 weeks of painstaking work, Tom's trainers are boxed up and finally ready for their grand unveiling. And to put them to the test, he's dipping his toe in the world of hip-hop.
Up here is like a dance battle going on. You know, they're going to be fairly discerning when it comes to footwear. And so I wonder what they're going to make of my trainers.
This crowd sure know their trainers. Can Tom convince them to try the Double T brand and dance in his latest creation?
There's quite a lot of unique styles, so maybe someone would appreciate the uniqueness of my trainers.
Tom grabs one of the finalists to show his shoes off for the very first time.
Yeah, so these are my trainers. And look, I've extracted that rubber from the tree. And this is the bullet holes. So that's the entry hole and that's the exit hole.
Okay.
I thought like, you know,
Alright.
what do you think?
Impressive for the resources you use, but pretty ancient.
Hey, what size are you?
Too small or too big for this?
Will you just try them on here? No? Oh, go on.
No.
Why not?
They have to look fresh. They have to look nice when I put them on.
They used to tan leather using dog poo. They've got the power, man. Can you smell it? Smell that power. I'm going to get somebody to wear these.
Thanks to globalised production, the typical pair of trainers costs just £2 to make. But Tom has spent over £2,000 making his. The boys have voted with their feet. Will the girls see the beauty in his creation?
So,
Oh, they're gorgeous. Done it.
see, you're the first people that have, you know, appreciated. Come on, let's put them on. Yes. See, these girls, they're individuals. You see, they appreciate bespoke.
Cinderella?
Nice. This is the first time these shoes have been worn.
Oh my goodness.
Cool. Let's see some moves.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Okay, yes.
Yes. Check it out. Those shoes are amazing. They're staying on. Woo! Nice.
I find them really comfortable though.
Genuinely.
Genuinely, if they fit me, I would actually dance in them.
Thank you.
Now Tom knows his trainers can stand on their own 2 feet, it's time to take them to the dance floor. Tom's trainers are a hit. But now the evening's over, there's just one more person who needs to try them on.
What do you think, Tom?
I think the people in there, they knew their trainers, and all right, a few of them were skeptical, but they danced in them. They made them come alive, and that was a really proud moment. But you know what? I made them for me. The shoe fits. Cheers, mate.